in your best radio voice.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm
Now, the shipping forecast.
I'm quite impressed that you didn't go straight into the differences between embossing and debossing, then, James, because we have already had that conversation once tonight.
Yeah, I mean there are certain phrases that I can't go near, and that is one of them, just for my own personal safety, and for those in a 100-meter radius who don't want to be ranted at.
No,
I am really tempted right now to just say they are the same thing, even though I know they are different. Just to trigger James.
Don't make me get my tabard out.
No, but I because I did exactly the same thing before in the other chat, because that was that whole thing came up, and I concluded that the only way to make it correct is that everything else is embossed. That was the solution. That was at least it works enough.
Yeah. When we were doing the we were moving some machines around when we were shutting down the workshop, and they were talking about a debossing machine. And I was like, "You mean embossing?" And they went, "No, debossing." I was like,
"There's a difference."
What? And then someone tried to explain it. I just kind of went, "Okay, I'm going to move the heavy thing now."
Debossing is what everyone thinks embossing is, and embossing is not what you think.
Yeah, and it confuses me every single time.
Everyone does.
Like I get concave and convex, like that makes sense, but deboss and emboss just confuse me.
It's the same as laminating. So when you buy a laminator and then do a laminating thing on a piece of paper in an office, you're doing encapsulation. Laminating is one side. So when you put it in a pocket and squeeze it between the hot rollers, you're doing encapsulation, not laminating. Everyone knows it's laminating.
It's because
they're called laminating machines. Yeah.
It's called laminating machine. Yeah.
But what you're doing is when you're doing it in a pocket and you're doing both sides, you're doing encapsulation. I had the same rant at me when I tried to get an A1 drawing laminated, and the guy very deliberately said, encapsulated.
Of course you've got a machine.
It says laminating on mine.
No.
And it is one-sided. The other side's magnets. It says magnet one side, laminate the other.
Yeah.
It's somewhere. It's somewhere up here. That's the machine. There we go. That's a little treat for the visual listeners. No, visual watchers.
I think visual listeners.
The audio watchers. Yeah.
The audio watchers.
People who listen with their eyes.
Yeah, that one.
If that's single side laminating,
I've just seen
how's that working?
Carefully.
So rather than encapsulating between two layers of plastic,
it laminates it.
It laminates exactly.
Wait, this makes total sense because
you laminate wood, don't you?
Yeah, lamination of wood or better of steel. As opposed to encapsulate. You see,
but even the encapsulation,
it's not hot. Is the answer. For everyone screaming in their car, it's not hot. It's just glue. That's how. It just glues it. Sorry for ruining the fun, but I had to answer.
Also, I went to say just now, but I love Dave's comment. The laminator group chat I've been waiting for.
It is the sexiest piece of stationery.
Yes.
I was just about to say that is the best moment of Taskmaster is seeing Greg Davis and no, it was.
Is this the latest series? Because I haven't seen it yet.
No, it's like series 6 or something. Not Jessica Knappett. Person sat next to her. Oh God, that's going to do.
You have no idea how hard it is not to fill the dead air whilst you're trying to figure this out. Like, the only reason I'm not is because I got Hannah after doing it.
The problem is you then get into extreme stationery. Is a paper drill a stationary item? For when you don't, a hole punch is fine, but you need to drill through 500 pieces of paper to make one hole.
Press harder.
Was that the second stationary hard fill?
Because there are different types of paper drill, of course, as well. But I've got an Italian paper drill. It cost me about 40 quid for something that just punches either 3, 4, 5 millimeter holes, I think. But it only goes about a centimeter max. It's a hand one.
Is it a hand twisty one like the old-fashioned drill?
No, it's not like a
Screwdriver?
Japanese. It's not the Japanese one. It's the
Yeah.
because the Japanese ones actually, unless you're going for a very short distance, they tend to give you a spiral, not a spiral, a conic.
Sorry, I just realised that my camera's out of focus, and I got completely distracted by the fact that it was focusing on my microphone and not on my face. And I zoned out and was like, "Wait, why is this not working?" Yes, paper drills. Sorry.
Yeah. So the Italian
Steve
one I've
happened.
got is it's parallel sided, so it gives you a slightly better finish.
Yeah.
What are we even talking about?
We're
Paper
talking
drills.
about their stationary.
Stationary.
Fucks.
Yeah.
back
Now,
to
do you know why?
school
Do you know why
soon.
stationary is called stationary?
Because it doesn't move.
You put it on your desk and it stays there,
No.
unless you've got.
Is it
Unless you're on a
was
boat.
invented,
If you're on a boat.
invented by Thomas the Tank Engine?
Nope.
Oh, damn. Oh, no, I'm
That's your
thinking of
homework
crystal
for
meth.
this week. That's your homework for this week. You got to go and find out.
So now I'm thinking of crystal meth.
It's on Wikipedia. It must be true.
Why is it called stationary?
It's called stationary because the shops were the first shops not to be mobile, to be in things like carts,
Ah.
because
Ah.
books were so and paper was just so heavy that having it something portable like on a cart was just.
So it got
not-
its name
not
because of
viable.
lazy people.
Yeah.
Basic. Hey, we
Is it
win.
late?
We win at something.
I think you'll find lazy people. Lazy people win at a lot of things.
Yeah.
That was
It's
the
like,
old Bill Gates quote, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want something done efficiently, ask somebody that's lazy.
Yeah.
It's a term
Can I
for
get someone else to do
engineering.
it for me?
Kerry Godlyman.
Yes, that's a name.
Well read.
Thanks to Neil,
Yeah.
What was the question?
the person on task.
1, 2, 3 laminator was the question.
Yes, it was. They were trying to work out what was the best stationary item, and Kerry basically said, I've won this. I know exactly what the best piece of stationery is." And Greg said, if it is this, it's going to be amazing. We'll do count to 3, and then we'll both say the same thing. And yeah, they both went, "The laminator," and they were both hugely excited by that fact because it's the best stationary item.
Is it?
It's the one I've repaired in our office more than anything else, because it's the one that everyone tries to laminate very small things in a full pouch, and it just goes glues up in the rollers, and then you have to strip a 30-year-old laminator apart.
I'm just trying to think of a better piece of stationery, but
So I
agree with Tom. It's not really stationary. It's a
Stationary
bit of
adjacent.
office equipment. It's like a printer. A printer's not stationary. It's
Yeah,
a printer.
I would go with that actually. I would say it's more of a piece of office equipment than stationary.
Yeah.
Like
'Cause-
a hole punch is stationary. Like
Yeah.
that's
I feel like if it's got an electronic component, it's not stationary. It's office equipment.
So the hole punch is.
but
What about
yeah.
an electric hole punch?
yeah, and an electric pencil sharpener.
Yeah,
Yeah, but they're electric versions of manual things. You don't get a manual laminator, do you?
Yep.
So-
Do you want,
Oh,
do you want
yeah,
me to
you
take it
do-
off the shelf?
yeah.
It's up
Blow
literally.
torch,
Is it really manual?
Yeah. Do you want me to get it off the
blow
shelf?
torch and a mangle.
Okay.
It'll be a wide youth thing. Of course he has one.
For the benefit of the audio listeners, James is now getting
Yeah.
his laminator.
It was the face.
To ruin this, look. So this thing, what does it look like? It's got a little fold-out tray.
It looks like
That's
a
the
printer.
sound of a folding out tray. What's that? It's a handle to manually
Manual.
wind your laminator / encapsulator.
There you go.
Happy. This has been Random Tools with Multi, Part 1.
Neil has just suggested
Bloody
that
encapsulator.
a laminator isn't really officing; it's like CNCs and woodworking.
what you're saying is you should manually put layers of sellotape over your paper like a proper person.
I feel really sorry for anybody that's listening to this and not watching it live, because that entire sequence with the laminate and encapsulator was just peak.
This is you know, we've ruined the surprise that this is a highly scripted comedy. Right.
Exactly.
Oh god. Episode 103. Right. Can someone get a manual encapsulator? Oh god.
The props department's fantastic for this place.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So I have a work-related...
there is this thing called Fablon, where you clear Fablon, you cover books and things.
I was going to say, we've all been told to use sticky back plastic to cover our exercise books.
No, we haven't.
Wallpaper in my day. Yeah.
I was going to say that the
brown paper.
4 of us maybe.
Yeah. I got given a book and told to read it. That was it.
So how would you write things down in your copybook?
Wait, you mean my exercise book?
A copybook.
What's a copybook?
Remember that fire plus water is whiskey, and when ice melts, you say thank you, ants. Thanks.
What?
So this is a. There are a few people, maybe 3, who are going, "Oh yes, the Peter Serafinowicz show that isn't the Brian Butterfield diet." Oh yeah, I remember that sketch, and everyone else is clueless.
Yeah.
But see, he's Black Books, and he was in
Spaced.
No, he was in the other coupling as well.
Peter Serafinowicz. Senator. That guy, Peter.
Sort of put your teeth in and try that again.
No, he's one of the names I cannot say. But he was in Spaced as well, because he played Simon Pegg's girlfriend's new boyfriend, and Simon Pegg shot him in the balls with 2 paintball guns when they were paintballing, and it was very funny. I remember that scene very, very well. I don't know why.
So before
Anyway.
I actually came on here, so this is the second testicle reference I've heard today. Before I came on here, article on Instagram was, man had his testicles crushed by a woman using books or some shit because he was cheating on her.
I love the idea that it actually said books or some shit.
Some shit.
I couldn't remember I mean, I can try and get it on Instagram again, but the probability is slim.
It's going to mess your fade up, definitely.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. More so than it already is.
Mind you, there was the woman that cut the guys off. So anyway, transparent aluminum is a thing.
Transparent.
Yeah, as is transparent wood.
Yeah, transparent. Yeah, that's just that I find really interesting. But transparent aluminium. Why can't I talk today? I don't.
Fine steel.
Sorry, I was thinking about it just now because when we were talking about lamination, and then we talked about laminated wood and metal, and I was like, I wonder. And then way brain worked, I was like, oh, transparent aluminium, and then I was thinking how cool it would be to do like layers of transparent aluminium and like a steel or something, and then had to Google it to see if transparent aluminium was something that I had made up in my head was on a TV show or was an actual thing, and it's an actual thing.
Well, it was on a
started out on Star Trek.
Yeah,
but it's an actual thing as well, I think, apparently.
Probably from somebody watching Star Trek.
Yeah.
Most of the things like that are.
I go, can we do this?
Is this possible? Let's find people who can make it possible.
Yeah. It's comprised of aluminium, oxygen, and nitrogen. Which is mad. Because I suppose 2/3 of it is then transparent anyway.
Focused?
Is that just aluminium with holes in?
I think so, yeah.
It's the atmosphere. That's made of aluminium, oxygen, and nitrogen.
It's an aluminium window frame, and someone should look through it and go, no, it's transparent.
Aluminium mesh.
Fuck's sake.
Is the middle bit of it made out of glass, Steve?
You know what? I was just trying to rescue the conversation train and get us away from stationery, and no.
Well, what's wrong with stationery? Nothing wrong with stationery.
Yeah,
I like
I haven't.
stationery.
I haven't even told my laminator anecdote yet.
Come on.
So
You
this
only
is
told
this
us
is
one
the
fact
way.
you know about laminating.
No, this is a story at work. So everyone knows the green push button.
Is this
to try and
is
get out
this
of
kind of one of
doors.
these emergency room accident emergency?
No,
type?
this is a proper office supply related story. So the green push buttons to get out of doors. Of course, people who build buildings don't necessarily consider where that's going to be in relation to the door. So we have one that is awkwardly far away. Yes, fine, you do, and someone in that chain didn't think about it, and so everyone would go up to the door doesn't work, and they just press the button. And I thought it would be really funny to make a face that went round the green button, so it was a nose. I was like, oh no, just press the nose. And it got taken down. I was like, oh, you're not allowed to put up signs. So I laminated, and it's been up there for 3 years. And now it's a pirate.
Laminated,
So
makes official.
Just boop the pirate's nose. We go, what? Oh yeah. And that's why laminators are the best office supply thing.
We can't argue with that at all.
Yeah, it's. Yeah, I've got to give you that. That's brilliant. Yeah.
And it's
I don't
also...
think I'm.
Sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, I don't think there's any way we can top that, is there?
Yeah. Well, I just love the fact that it's one of those, like, it's that whole thing of, like, if you wear a high-vis jacket, no one will, like, stop you.
Yeah.
If you laminate something, everyone's just going to be, well, it's official, it's laminated.
Yeah, someone signed off on this. Yeah.
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 Yeah, because
That's the way.
only special people are allowed to use the laminators.
See, best piece of equipment. That's why.
Isn't that how they snuck Han Solo through lots of things? They laminated him in carbonate. No one will notice.
I think you'll find that was encapsulation.
Encapsulation.
That was definitely encapsulation, yeah.
This is
It's kind of only on one side though, so isn't that lamination?
No, he was
Flipping round.
he was
Sticking out. It's half sticking out.
He was,
No, if you if you turn it around, you can see that his trousers have fallen down, so he's mooning everyone.
Because it's not just a pair of bum cheeks stuck out.
I really hope that someone's done that somewhere. I bet it's on Thingiverse. I'm gonna have a look.
it's bound to be on Thingiverse, yeah.
Han Solo. I really don't want to Google Han Solo's butt cheeks, but at the same time, I'm going to.
That needs to be a t-shirt.
Yeah. I mean, let's be fair. You've probably Googled it previously, Steve, and forgotten about it.
Yeah, if it's a purple link, then we know.
Laminators are good. Don't get me wrong. We used to have our own because we used to do so much between my wife and I with stuff for school for ourselves. It was just kind of easier to just laminate it and just go, okay, yeah, that's now my resource. I've made that resource and keep it. Yeah, especially if you kind of spent a lot of time generating something. But I do like a good electric full ream guillotine.
Oh, you've read my mind. I was
This is
going to say,
the
are we going to
Greg
go down
Davis,
the
Kerry Godliman.
guillotine or down the
Yeah.
overhead projector route? And I'm glad we've steered away from the OHP.
Now.
I've got an OHP.
OHP is a solar sentry visualizer.
Oh yeah.
Good
Smart.
visualizer.
Smart board.
No, there was a big push in the noughties for interactive whiteboards, which kind of didn't really. No one ever got taught how to use them properly, which is a bit of a problem.
Surprise,
So they
surprise.
ended up just being expensive whiteboards that you could actually save your work onto, if you'd been taught or learned how to save your work onto it. In my mind, if I had kind of a limited budget, but I had roughly the budget for an interactive whiteboard, I wouldn't bother with the interactive whiteboard. I would just have a good quality visualizer. And there's a massive difference between the sort of the cheap ones, which are kind of anywhere from kind of 80 to 200 quid, and the ones that kind of cost like £1,000 quid. I had £1,000 one a couple of times in 2 different schools, and they are so good. Really are so good. And you can do things like you freeze half the screen, so you can have like a set of text, freeze it, and then kind of have something else alongside it. And I used to, rather than writing notes on the board, I used to have an exercise book, so the kids could see exactly how they were supposed to lay stuff out on an exercise book, not just on a board. And I think that was just, and then I also had that. Then if somebody missed it, they can just go, okay, yeah, come in lunchtime. You can just copy out from my exercise book. Just a lot easier. But a little tip: if you're a physics teacher and you're using a visualizer, be careful of showing the radioactive sources under the visualizer. It can occasionally knock out pixels. Don't ask me how I know that.
So the website the eBay shop that James and I...
Don't tell them. Don't. It's secret. Don't tell them.
Yeah, our secret source for absolute junk that we love.
Yes.
They quite often have, because they'll like clear out offices or schools or whatever, and you'll quite often see like a sudden influx of like 65-inch Clever Touch multi-display for like £50 starting bid and stuff.
Yeah, a lot of places go for screens now rather than projectors.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've actually got a 55-inch one at the Hackspace that's currently sat on a desk and waiting to be mounted to a wall. So I've actually cleared the wall of all the crafty stuff that was there originally. We had a bunch of IKEA, I don't know, something from IKEA that held things in containers. So I've shifted that over onto a piece of plywood that's now on the metal shelves, with space for this big giant screen that we're just going to put on the wall, and we currently have no idea what we want to do. There's lots of ideas, but as it's the Hackspace, those ideas may not become actual things that we end up doing. So it's anyone's guess, but we need a mount that can support that 100 kilos, because that thing's a heavy thing. Like it's a heavy beast.
Yeah.
They're not light, but it's like infrared cameras all along the edge, and yeah, multi-touch surface. It's very, very cool piece of kit. There was talk of doing a Warhammer gaming setup, so you put the pieces on, and it detects the piece and then figures out what its Warhammery power stuff. I don't play Warhammer. I don't know.
You didn't need that explanation because we'd figured it out from the other bit.
Have you ever come across? There's a company. The interactive whiteboards. There were 3 or 4 companies making interactive whiteboards. The 2 biggest names in the UK were Smart. Hence, a lot of people call them smart boards. They became a more generic term. The other company, which is quite big over in the UK, I think it was a UK-based company actually. It was Promethean. They had a lot of, they come active boards. Now, they had a product for a while called an active table. Now, that was an interesting bit of a kit.
So literally very similar to the original Microsoft Surface.
Yeah. The active table was literally, it was coffee table sized. Yeah, it was, 4 foot by 3 foot. So literally like a gaming, it was like those arcade games you used to get, sort of 2-person arcade games where you used to sit at a table.
Cocktail cabinet.
Literally like one of those, yeah. Or not the upright ones. Literally,
cocktail
you can sit around it. Yeah,
that's what they're called.
Okay.
Or Samuel L. Jackson's desk in Kingsman. He had one, and it was
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I think they still, if I'm remembering Bet correctly from last year, Promethean were there, and so were Smart.
They were,
and I'm sure they had some like weird and wonderful display units and all the rest of it, and I'm sure they had something on a table of some description. So whether they still do it or not is a different matter, but I'm sure they had something that was on a table that you could interact with.
Yeah.
But it was a virtual display that you could it was basically a giant touchscreen, but very
most of
expensive.
them got the touchscreens now rather than projectors.
Yeah, just
yeah.
a multi-touch
There are some.
overlay.
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, you get multi-touch because originally you only could have single touch.
Sorry, I was laughing because obviously multi, and it was just like you were giving him a command, like multi touch, and it just made me giggle. So. Anyway, if it makes you feel better, like we fuck's sakes, we have one of the workbenches in the workshop. We just painted it with blackboard paint or chalkboard paint so that you can just draw on that and use it like that. And it's much lower tech, but much better in that kind of environment.
Somehow I think a large 55-inch $3,000 touchscreen might not be appropriate in a blacksmith shop.
Maybe not.
or any workshop for that matter. Like,
especially when people start trying to put Tipex over it to get rid of some of the
yeah.
But your comment earlier on about the Warhammer stuff, like I know I've got a bunch of friends that are really, really into D&D. And they put me onto someone, and I cannot for the life of me remember the guy's channel name, but he's not a maker, he's a D&D content creator. And he had a table set up, and it was fucking awesome because he had this program that was like he was able to basically create like top-down view maps of different environments and stuff like that. And he had this table that was basically, like you said, just a giant touchscreen that you could put your characters on, and like the display underneath would be depending on where they were, and they could change it and they could move it around and all of this and do animations and everything. It was fucking awesome. And it made me really want to build one. And then I looked into the pricing of it and realized that that's not gonna happen.
Not this week.
The touchscreen that we've got was actually salvaged from someone local to us, which is the Middlesbrough Institute of Modern Art, also known as MIMA. It's not bad actually. They do some pretty decent shows. I was at a social event there last week, and they had someone talking about the use of so in the northeast there's lots of mining areas, and one's called Bulby, and they are using that mine to detect dark matter. So they have dark matter detectors down in this mine shaft, and this like ridiculously advanced piece of equipment for dark matter detection.
That's
I'm
awesome.
assuming it's not just a couple of sci-fi fans watching the DVD of the show.
No, it's not. Thank God. Yeah. So I think it's the University of Sheffield who are doing it, and there's the doctor of physics was talking about it. I was like, this is not the usual art social, because normally it's an art person talking about their art and what inspires them and all of that stuff. But this was the science, and then there was also someone talking about how they were documenting that whole journey and the mines and all the rest of it. And I was like, this is exactly what you need. This is where, it's the whole STEAM argument. And I then started nerding out, and I was like, so, this detector that you made, you talked about it being needing to be really pure materials. So you're using like super alloys and, superconductors and stuff like that. And he goes, no, it's stainless steel, titanium, but it's all been like really refined to minimize any like radiation leaks and all the rest of it. I was like, oh, that's so cool. The entire room, because it was mainly geared towards artists, just went flat. As soon as I asked the question, it was like I mentioned the word superconductors, and they were like, you could just see hear that sort of low of,
just straight away. It's just like a bus conductor or someone at the front of a conducting an orchestra or something, but just in superhero lycra with a big S on the front. You know?
Interesting fact. Quite often for detectives like that, they often try and get hold of pre-World War II sunken battleships.
Because there's no radioactive signature.
Yeah, because they were at the bottom of the sea before the two bombs went off.
The problem with that is though is the little pins always tend to fall out, so they never get a full set.
Depends if they're the white ones or the red ones. You know, it's difficult to tell.
Such a dick.
But at least you know that you can always just go, you know, a square to the left, and you're probably going to be okay. I mean, we could have gone with a not covered in semen joke, so at least that was.
This is true, yeah.
It could have gone either way, really. I mean, it's Jeremy. It could have gone. Actually, I'm surprised it went the other way.
I'm not even going to bother trying to defend myself.
No, I think.
But I do know, talking of sunken ships, I do know that even after 111 years, that there is still water in the swimming pool on the Titanic. Did you know that? So well made.
That was coming. I knew that was coming. Fuck's sake.
It's funny because they filled it with sparkling just to make it fancy. So I guess it's gone flat after all this time.
The ice melted.
Too soon.
Oh, fucking hell.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a combination of crying laughing and crying hating.
So,
hello and welcome.
Yeah, I was about to say, so what's the topic?
Or
isn't it a topic?
So simple.
It's just like
I thought it was stationary, wasn't it?
No,
that's when you don't move.
We're talking about tangents rather than topics.
Yes, I was about to show something then, and then realised that I'm not allowed to because I'm still under an NDA, and was like, because it's on my desk. I was about to grab it and be like, oh, look at this thing that I've made, and then was like, I can't.
Look at this thing that you can hopefully see in a film in a few months' time.
Years?
I mean, at Maker Central, you didn't even bother asking if I was under an NDA, and you just went, I'm just going to share this on Instagram.
No. Oh, shit, yeah, no, that. Yeah, that one. Yeah. I think, I'm pretty sure I asked afterwards. Like, after.
Yeah, you did ask. Yeah, you posted it first, though.
So,
and then you were like, oh, wait, am I allowed to?
Is the A in NDA for afterwards then?
Yeah.
Although, to be fair, at Maker Central, I was also going around going, this is definitely breaking my NDA, but if anyone's
listening from the production company, he wasn't. He's just making that up now for development.
We all stopped him. It was fine.
Yeah. I have no recollection of the event in question.
That's probably true, to be fair. It was so because we just recorded the first Fools of Tools in like a month and a half.
2023.
Yeah. Excuse me. We had to talk a little bit about Maker Central, and it was so difficult because I was like, I can't remember it, but I'm pretty sure that was 6 months. Yeah, I was like, I'm pretty sure this was like 6 months ago now, and because we did the Wine, Dine, and Hammer Time thing at Thornwood, and we had to talk about that. And I went to be like, oh yeah, because that was a little while back now, and and I was like, Steve, that was 7 days ago. I was like, no, wait, was it?
That's a long time in Steve time.
Really is. Like, a
It's
lot happens
either yesterday
in a day.
or many years. Yeah.
This is what, like, because everyone always has a go at me for using the other day as a term between literally 10 minutes
when I was a child and now.
When I was a child. Yeah. But that's why I say the other day, because it's a day that's not today. So it's the other day.
There are more than one other days, though.
Exactly. And this is one of them. What was I going to say?
The other day is a non-specific term of reference, so technically, you could refer to semantics. The other day as.
Should it not be another day rather than the other day?
No, it's the other day when Caesar rose to power, or the other day when Al was down.
Awful salads.
Yeah. Yeah, like, but the way my memory works is weird because when I put the post up about the fact that I fired the Land Rover up and it just fired up first time, and I didn't even heat the coils. I literally just turned the key straight round and it just.
In this weather, those coils were hot enough.
Yeah, this is very true. But because someone said like, "Oh, when did you last move it?" And I was like, "I don't know. It could have been. I'm pretty sure it was before I went to the States." And then had to work like, and I in my head I was like, oh yeah, and that was like 4 or 5 months ago. And then I was like, wait, no, that's it's almost a year ago. And then had to figure out like, wait, I think it's two years since I last drove it. So yeah, but I'm so excited about driving. Like, it was one of those things where, and do you guys ever get this with like vehicles or tools or anything where you kind of know that you really like something, but you forget how much. And then, because I sat in the Land Rover, I turned the key and it fired up, and just instantly was just like, oh shit, yeah, I love this thing. And now I'm super excited about driving it again because it's fucking awesome.
Yeah, but give it like 6 or 7 journeys and 14 repair jobs, and you'll be bored of it again.
I never got bored of it. The only reason I stopped driving it was because apparently my insurance doesn't cover hit and runs. So they wanted to charge me a huge amount.
You were.
You were
to you.
Yes. So yeah,
Legal.
someone drove into me.
There we go.
And
someone drove in and drove off.
Yeah, and I was left going, well, you still want to charge? They want to charge me like something like £400 for the work, and I was like, I can get the replacement part for £150 on eBay and fit it myself. The fact is that ended up then taking me 2 years to do, but that's neither here nor there. But that's the only reason that I stopped driving it. I fucking love driving that thing, and I will quite happily drive it every day because no matter what, that engine will start. The steering pump might go, or the fan belt might go, or the door might fall off, but the engine will still start. That's what I like about it, and that is
quite good, isn't it?
Yes.
To focus on. Segui number 1. I mean, it does sound like you drive a Honda generator at this point.
I was going to say
the engine will always start.
Yeah.
Oh no, wait, no, the electrics work on that. Sorry, bad.
Touche.
And the lights are meant to flash on the Honda.
Yeah.
All right. Why is everyone being mean to me in the comments as well? Just Alan and Tom just being dicks. It's not fair. Also, where's Caro?
No, yeah, but that isn't Al being a dick. That's just an obvious statement of intrigue.
You guys are so mean.
And Al, it wasn't 5 years ago. It was the other day.
So I'm wondering whether there's a special Steve calendar. So you know how we have...
Yeah, Jamie controls it.
So no, it's like there's different eras. So there's, most of us run on kind of before the Common Era and after the Common Era. Steve is, BGA, before going to America, after going to America, before Maker Central District. Yeah. There's no real...
The Google Calendar that Steve's linked into is running on, it's not on like GMT or anything like that, it's on SST. It's Steve Standard Time.
Yeah.
So can you remind me tomorrow is a 4-day event that has multiple reminders.
Shut up, man. Don't tell people my secrets.
It's a rough translation.
Yeah. It is true though, like the way my brain works, it's never, I can't remember what specific date or anything. I just know it was like I go by major events. Like, yes, this was before Maker Central, or this was after I got back from America, or like somewhere in that gap, or maybe it was before Christmas. Then it was after that. But the thing is, I can say it was before Christmas. If you ask me which year,
I was going to say you still got to narrow down the year.
Yeah, that's
always correct. If you say before Christmas,
exactly. Yeah, before Christmas this year.
So I was at a thing last week for work, and there was a guy who I'd seen before, and he was like, "Oh, it was about a year ago." I was like, "No, no, it was about 18 months ago," and I was referencing big events the same way.
Yeah.
Hey, because it's easier for me to remember when I've met someone after a certain event because I have that in my calendar as a particular event, as
Yeah.
otherwise I would forget to turn up to it, which is a bad thing. When it's important and it's for work, it's kind of important you show up to events that you say that you're going to go to.
Yeah.
It's saying, "Oh shit, I completely forgot." Not acceptable. Telling them that you got had another meeting come up and you forgot to email them. That's
Sorry, I'm
totally
double
fine
booked.
though.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry, I'm double booked. That's completely fine.
My assistant double booked me. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
That's why I keep getting those messages from your mates.
I was reading that. But like, to be fair, like a lot of my friends, they kind of half expect it from me now because I will quite often double book. But that's why I'm like,
I mean, you're the British Jimmy DeResta, aren't you?
Fuck off. If like, I genuinely have to put things in my calendar because if they don't go in my calendar right away, I have to put them in, or I have to tell Jamie to put them in. Because if they don't go in my calendar right away, then guaranteed I will book something else in that weekend or that day or that hour, whatever.
Yeah.
That's why my calendar is a array of. Because the thing is, Jamie, you only see half of it because you only see the one that we share. I've got 4 separate Google accounts linked to that calendar.
I'm exactly the same. That is like, I know I'm constantly taking the piss out of you for it, but I'm exactly the same. I'm normally always connected to a device that's connected to my calendars, and I'm multiple different calendars for different things, different people, different everything to try and coordinate all of it. And it's exactly that reason. If I don't put it in immediately, it didn't happen.
I also I have to be very specific about what I name things as well. So because it's the same, like if I put someone's name in my phone, I need to put a thing to say where I know them from.
Yeah.
Because like everyone from this last job is, first name, last name, Leather, because that in my head is enough that okay, no, that's where I know him from. But the other day there was a thing popped up on my phone.
Brackets NDA.
Yeah, Leather's fine. That's fine. But there was a thing that popped up on my phone, and it was person's name, just a first name, birthday. I have no idea who that person is. To the point where I had to go through my phone.
Happy birthday now. It's fine.
Yeah, but no, I had to go through my phone book to see if I have anybody in my phone by that name, and I don't. Wow, I figured out who it is in the end, and like what their nickname is on my phone, and I was like, I don't know why their birthday's in my calendar. So yeah, it's.
Yeah, but don't you have to put birthdays into contact details in order for it to?
Yeah, you just put them straight in the calendar as well.
Yeah, I put them straight in the calendar.
Okay,
because Steve, in a fit of organization a while ago, did do a maker's calendar, like maker's birthday calendar.
Yes, I did.
You did, and you misspelt my name in it.
Did I?
Yep, Jameh. Jameh's birthday. And every year Google wishes, like, do you want to wish Jameh a happy birthday? I'm like, no, I'm a bit busy celebrating my own, but thanks.
I'm gonna go in and fix that now.
No, don't. It's great. Every late November, I get a lovely surprise reminder that alternate universe me is also having a cake, and I'm trying to think of other things they'd have that don't have an S in. Card, present, no,
just a single
gift. Gift.
So anyway, aside from the fact that I'm a terrible person, what were we talking about before I derailed the conversation again?
Stationery, and then we went on to time.
Still.
That was the other day.
That's right, laminators,
Encapsulators,
pens and notebooks.
See, now I'm just wondering, like, what's the biggest laminator you could make? And if you could do it with, like, instead of using like thin bits of whatever the plastic is that they laminate with, like cellophane or whatever, if you could do it with like massive bits and have like acrylic and kind of.
Well,
heat them
we
in.
get.
Should we
yeah,
answer,
this
or
all-
do we want to have a little bit of fun banter before we talk about wide format laminators? I just want to feel
but,
out the
like,
room here.
No,
And
no, I don't
encapsulated.
just mean like wide. I mean like thick as well.
But
Like-
you'll
THCC thick.
For chunky laminations.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be the business name, wouldn't it? Chunky laminations.
chunky laminate.
Chunky.
Yeah.
I think that's another t-shirt idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Get on the list.
surely you've got for kitchen worktops and all that stuff in woodworking. You know, surely that's got to be a thing for that industry, because I can't see anyone like, you know, thinly cutting oak into strips and then, you know, gently hand gluing it all together. Surely you just stick that fucker through a machine and then be like, you know, screw it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
at that point, if it's material, hot glue of some adhesive of some description, there's bound to be an 8x4 version somewhere.
Caro's says, do we know about the laminating art installation with humans trapped inside? This
Was that in the
That
documentary?
sounds like a breach of the Geneva Convention at the very least. And
No,
you know,
I'm
if
just
it's in
wondering if it
Europe-
was. I think I've seen this on that documentary. Is it The Empire Strikes Back?
Go back.
And there was I thinking you were going to go down like, oh, I saw it on this this website. It's a bit like YouTube, but just, you know, orange and, you know, like, and there's people between do bits of vinyl and you know, it's all about
One of
trust.
those hub sites.
Hubs, yeah, Cycle Hub, something like that.
I just went to I googled human laminator, and it's come up with like human powered hydrofoils. I don't know why. That doesn't seem related. Human lamination.
probably a laminated foil. It's probably made
Laminate
from
foil?
laminated.
Yeah.
What?
or laminating humans onto foil as the
So I think in response to Carrie's question, no, none of us
Yeah.
have any idea
Oh,
what
yeah.
that is.
I'm googling it now.
Other search engines are available, but
Yeah.
DuckDuckGo is pretty shit.
What was the one with dog? Lycos? Lycos?
Yeah,
Something?
Lycos,
Yeah.
like us
And then
was the one with the dog.
Yeah.
Ask Jeeves
Ask Jeeves.
was
Why then
Scotland.
Ask Jeeves. Ask
Yeah.
Jeeves
Yeah.
was always my favorite because it felt like I was actually asking a person.
Yeah.
And then there's Bing, which is awful.
Yeah.
Although
I
Bing is-
have been using Bing recently because of the GPT-4 integration.
yeah.
That's the only reason to use it, and don't use it for web searches because it's shocking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just try
You
and,
know,
try and
guess
break
the
it.
URLs.
Yeah, but
Okay.
I don't like Edge. I have to. I've obviously it comes on. I have a Windows computers, so it kind of comes built in, and as far as I know, you can't remove it. Not that I've attempted to remove it, but the marking I'm doing, I have to use Edge. I cannot. It will not let you use Chrome, which is my preferred browser. Just because it's
There
the
was-
browser I've been using for the longest time.
Yeah, that's because you still have tabs open from the first time you opened Chrome.
No, I don't. No, I don't, because I have one tab.
Yeah, Andy sensibly puts them in one tab. I just put more RAM in my machine and keep the tabs open.
So you,
Like-
got, you
I
learned
mean,
from a
to be
server use
fair,
the internet?
I only have on my. Unfortunately, you can't share one tabs between computers.
Can I just point something out? That like it was really nice because I'm so used to getting picked on every time I come on here, and I'm there going, but I trying to explain myself, and it was really nice seeing Andy do exactly the same thing.
Yeah, the very bottom one tab on that computer. 'Cause I've got about 2,500 tabs in my one tab, and the very bottom one tab is a link to a web, because you can save one tab out as a web page, and it saves that a link to a one tab.
We-
web
we
page
should
with
explain for
another
viewers that-
3,000.
That one tab is kind of like bookmarks for people with undiagnosed ADHD.
Yeah,
Ah.
and yeah.
And it's not me.
I still have bookmarks. I never use bookmarks anymore.
No, me either.
I've still got the bookmarks on
I've kind of got a hierarchical system for how likely I am to go back to it at any point. And if I need to find the thing quickly, or if I need to find the thing somewhere else. So if I know I'm going to come back to the thing on this PC, it stays as a Chrome tab. If I know I'm going to need it at some point randomly at someone else's house when I'm trying to fix something, I'd save it to Evernote, and then I can get it on my phone.
Oh, I see.
Otherwise,
Mine
it
is.
just stays as tabs.
I have one bookmark that is my Heimdall dashboard, so things I actually need to get to regularly. So that's Heimdall. Then I've got tabs that I leave open, which is either you need to look at this at some point soon, or it's, oh, that looks really good, I want to get that immediately. No, just save it as a tab and wait. If it is still interesting to you in 24 hours, then you're allowed. You're given permission to look at it.
See, I have to wait a week for that kind of thing, because it's otherwise the 24 hours is not enough time to sort of, because you're still excited about it. Like 24 hours later,
that's why I allow myself one night of bad, not actual sleeping, to then get back to it. I couldn't do a week.
I have an alternate view on that, because for me, if I leave it 24 hours, I'll have forgotten about it, see it again like it's the first time, and get excited all over again. So what I have a much better kind of buffer for this. So what I do is I send it to Jamie and say, "Can you remind me about this?" And then he makes the decision whether or not it's something I need to be reminded about, or whether I'm an idiot, and either reminds me in 5 to 7 working days, or just doesn't, and just lets it drift off into the ether.
The background for this, for today's version of that happened, was Steve sending me an eBay link to a thing saying, "Can you remind me to buy this on Tuesday, please?" In which case, half an hour later, I replied to him asking if he'd read the description of the thing, because it was missing parts that I knew he might have needed. And his response was, "No, but I'm bidding on another one."
Yeah, but it's
so now I know I don't need to remind him on Tuesday.
Yeah, it was for some letter stamps, and it had 2 A's and was missing the N, which I didn't look at the time. And the ones that I was bidding on, which was it looked like a mint set, they were just a bit rusty, I got outbid on literally at the very last second, and I was like, no one else has bid on this for the entire time, and I was very annoyed.
I thought you'd given up looking for letter stamps. I've been seeing them go through my my personal interest looking at things online, and thinking, oh yeah, I remember 3 years ago Steve said, when he was like, oh yeah, so if anyone's looking, has got interesting letter stamps they see online, let me know. I was like, oh, that was 3 years ago. He'll have found them by now. And they thought, no, it's Steve. Of course he's still looking.
Of course I am.
I mean, did you need the N? I mean, this guy wrote a book without an E in it.
Yeah, well, but I can't do swear tags of things like knob without an N.
Yeah. That's about the only one, though.
See you next Tuesday.
Moonshine.
Yeah, as I say, the
tool.
Oh yeah. That's a very good point. My username now.
Moonshine.
Your Alternet username.
Mooshi. It'd just be Mooshi.
Mooshi Metalworks.
No, it would. Wait, is there an N in metal? No. Yeah, Mooshi Metalworks.
As another T-shirt.
One day I must go through some of the other episodes and actually produce some of these. Yeah.
Oh, we need to just we'll get on that thing that Neil uses.
I was about to say something then and realised that it's not my place to announce it. But for those of you that are listening to this after listening to Fools with Tools, this is where I drop in the news that Al has, but I can't say.
So what you say? This is the choose your own adventure version. So now we've got to pause this, go to Fools with Tools in a week's time, and
if you've already listened to Fools with Tools, go to the end of this episode into the after show where I'll add the. Someone's gonna have to read that out. Just because for the audio listeners, I've just stopped mid-sentence to cry laughing.
No, they can scroll through to 54 minutes and 40 seconds. It's fine.
Scroll through the chat.
Just look up what Mushi is in German.
Yeah.
Or if you're German, you've already laughed.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, that's
yeah.
half the audience of Maker's Waffle. They're in Germany.
Yeah.
It's very fair.
Or rapidly Duolingoing their way towards actually speaking German.
Yeah. I'm not. Duo is so angry with me because I started learning German in January when I was in Germany, and then I left Germany and forgot. And Duo didn't forget. Duo is very upset.
Do you
But
still keep getting the passive aggressive goth girl?
Yeah, every now and then. But the thing is, I figure Caro speaks good English, so I'm fine. I'm never going to go to Germany without Caro, so it's good.
For a second, I thought you were saying like the passive aggressive goth girl was Caro. Like, do you get passive aggressive goth girl? Like, guys, she's in the comments and she's our friend. That's pretty on the nose. Steve, you're not learning German. Hi, Caro.
I had a mouthful of cider then I couldn't do anything. Oh, Caro.
I've not used Duolingo. That's my out. I don't really know how the how it works.
Oh, that was brilliant. Yeah. Anyway, moving away from insulting Caro again. What was the subject? Stationary. Oh God. Oh, these comments are worse. Yeah.
That's got to be Berlin based, surely.
What's the name of the club? The club in
I
Berlin.
don't know, but it's got one single red light and everyone there's not moving. That's Berlin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why am I trying to...
someone?
I don't need
If
to
only
host
there was
this show.
someone. Yeah, if only there was someone from Berlin in the chat.
I
I
feel
just
where
love
we
it
were at.
whenever there's a moment of silence. I love the fact that all of our eyes just suddenly point to Steve just to see what he's going to do.
It makes me so uncomfortable. Berghan. There we go. Thanks, Caro. I knew I could rely. See, you should get Caro on. She's great.
That's Tom.
Yeah.
Oh. Caro's useless.
Caro actually said, ha 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 ha, Alan, which I don't think is a name of a club, but it could be in Berlin.
You should get Tom on.
You never know. Yeah. Perhaps it should be.
Ha, ha,
Yeah, but don't Germans do it with a J?
What? Ja,
Yeah,
ja,
yeah,
ja,
yeah,
ja,
yeah.
ja.
Yeah. Oh, no, is that
I don't
Spanish?
I don't think that's how they actually laugh, though.
I don't know. You ever heard a German laugh?
Never.
Yeah.
They always laugh in English when they're around me.
Oh, this is so stupid.
And welcome to Maker's Waffle.
Yeah.
Change the
Almost
topic.
time for
Do you
introduction.
prefer
You listening of your own free will.
Yeah.
No one is forcing you here.
to ask sensible questions? Do you prefer cows or crows? Just a good kind of interview
crows
question.
Two choice or a just general animal?
No, that's the question. Cows or crows?
So crows, I would rather have a pet crow. I would rather
Yeah.
eat a cow.
Yes.
I'd rather drink the milk of a cow than a crow.
Also that.
Yeah, but have you seen those? Have you seen those really cute kind of
How would you milk
small
a crow?
cows?
The little-
That have, like
little
you can have them
Highland
as house
cows.
cows because they're so small.
No, you could do it
That's-
like
Yeah.
the same way that you milk oats. Just put them in a bag
Yeah.
and squeeze them.
With the cat, with the raven,
crow.
like
Yeah.
the crow.
Animal rights activists might have an issue with you squeezing a crow for milk, though. Just saying.
One count
it might
of
be a bit
luring a
awkward.
jackdaw into a bag. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, you got to be careful with crows. They know what other people.
They
kind of have a
remember.
memory for stuff,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and they
Well,
will.
They
They're
remember
very
faces.
clever.
Yeah.
And they are known for murder. They are known for murder. So, you know.
Only having a group though.
Still.
Yeah, and also ravens are fucking massive. It's like the size of a
Yeah.
cat.
I think if I was on a ship, I'd rather be in a crow's nest than a cow's nest.
I know.
More
Cows
room
are
in a
quite
cow's
warm
nest.
and- yeah.
Yeah.
Can't say as much though.
And it'd be more comfortable, I feel like.
Also, clouds aren't very good at climbing,
Puddles
so it'd
everywhere.
probably lower down.
Yeah.
It depends on
For
how
one
big
is
Clear
that-
ahead, Captain. Yeah. Oh, damn that iceberg. Oh well, at least we'll be useful for detecting things in the future.
It's still a
Very
mental
obscure.
image of someone on the Titanic shouting, and this is purely Jamie's fucking fault. Someone on the Titanic shouting, "Oh no, the pool's leaking!" And,
Why? What's the problem? It's filling up.
Leaking backwards.
It's at 45 degrees.
just someone in the pool bailing it out.
I feel like this should be some like you know how they've done like parodies of different movies over the years. I feel like that's right for a Titanic parody. That's got to be a line. in
Titanic,
there.
how it should have ended.
How it should have ended. Yeah, that's the one.
Titanic.
Amazing.
I saw a thing the other
years.
day that said you should watch Jaws backwards and see this kind of this benevolent shark giving people back their legs and helping them to walk.
Like that was the whole thing with Red Dwarf's episode called Backwards, talking about how Santa Claus goes and nicks everyone's favorite toys and then buggers off out the chimney and that kind of thing.
So yeah, Andy's finally cracked and started watching.
I have, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
I have. Well, I haven't seen any this week actually, but that's the marking. Market's put a kibosh on most things,
That's fair.
but I am, I think, a day and a half or 2 days ahead of schedule, so that's good.
Nice.
Because you have to hit certain date markers. So basically, they split it up in 25, 50, 75, 100%, and you have to hit the markers on time and hit the 100% on time to get a little bonus.
Is it like those video games where you've got like a sort of like a bar moving along the screen, and every time
There are
you
two
mark
bars.
another thing, it bounces
Yep.
up again, and you've got
There
to
are
keep...
two. Well, there are two. No, not kind of one that's got a growing thing. There are basically two bars. So basically, you got this kind of grid that goes from 0 to 100%, and there's a bar that's kind of progressing with time because there's obviously a fixed sort of deadline, and then there's a bar above that which shows my progress. And if you're behind schedule, it's red. If you're ahead of schedule, it's green or blue.
So do you tend to just smash the controller, or do you just go for moves that you know?
Depends on the question. Yeah.
Okay.
What you got to watch
Put
though,
that
if you get like a question where like, most people are getting it right, you're kind of going, because normally they're like worth like 1 mark. So it's like 1 submit, 1 submit, 1 submit, 1 submit. Oh, I think I might have just given somebody a mark they shouldn't have done, and you have to go back and double check.
So it's just block, high punch, block,
Yeah.
block, high
Something like
punch,
that. Yeah.
high kick.
Yeah.
And if you accidentally have like a very wordy question, your comment is Hadouken. If you happen to get
Down
it
forward, high punch.
right.
Right. So every time now, I think it's been for at least 2 years or so. Every time I see a TV show or a movie where there's some sort of energy blast thing, I always say Hadouken. Every single time. Like,
That's because you're a part of the nerd spectrum and
Yeah.
the age bracket that we are.
yeah, I don't know why I started doing it either.
Pre-programmed in.
'Cause, yeah, it's just every time.
Do you do the hand thing with the automatic doors as well?
No, the
Oh, no,
it's the
I-
force,
it's always that.
Force, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the force, force, yeah. Yeah, I'm a nerd. I'm unapologetically a nerd. So,
Oh, I'm fully aware. That's why I chose to stand on a chair and send you a message back saying it's over. I have the high ground. Really broke my flow state, but I was like, it's worth it.
I genuinely thought you were going to say I nearly broke my flip flop then.
Oh no, my flip flop.
So the the local comic book shop in town has just moved to a new premises. They were kind of tucked out of the way a little bit, and they've just moved onto the main high street. And they had their big launch event last weekend, which I couldn't go to because I was
not here
doing some. No, I was here. I was doing the class with Al and Joe and everyone. But I went along on yesterday just to wish them well and all of that. And this is so like I was such a nerd because I walked around the corner and they've obviously got this big bright blue sign that says Atomic Comics and Games, which just looked fucking awesome. And I got super excited and super like, this is so good. And I was so happy for them and so proud of them. And I walked in
the old shop.
No. But I went in and like got to see the new space, and they've got a really cool area upstairs, and they've got like, so if you go upstairs, there's like basically a gaming room. So they've got a load of tables and chairs that you can do like D&D or board games or whatever, and like have that space, and they have that space open in the evenings as well.
Cool.
Unfortunately, the board games night is on a Thursday when I have hockey, but they've also got, so this is where the conversation was going, is they've got board game night on a Thursday. And I was like, oh, I can't go because I play hockey on a Thursday.
But if it's moving
No, because then they opened up the doors that go out onto the roof of the other shops, and there's a flat bit up there and a service elevator. So it's like on Clerks, the original Clerks, when they play hockey up on the roof, because it's that same flat roof thing. And they're like, you could just come up here and play hockey. And the elevator, the service elevator, is like the opening. It's the same size as a hockey goal. And it's perfect. And now I want to live out my nerd cult dreams. Nerd cult dreams? No, what's...
That's what he could have used. He could have used an L instead of an N on the swear tags.
Huh? Oh, so yes, with you. That was a callback.
I'm surprised you aren't
Klopp.
just annoyed.
Klopp.
Klopp. But they clearly listen to your podcast.
Who?
Yeah, they've stolen your idea from episode 134 for your car garage games night thing.
Oh,
I'm surprised you didn't walk in and go, I remember this from one of the old episodes. Oh wait, no, Steve.
Steve doesn't
Jamie,
remember the old
which
episodes.
episode was this that I did this?
shut up, guys.
But no, what I was going to say was if they're moving, if it's war games and stuff, and they're moving like soldiers or stuff, you could just be up on the table with the hockey stick, moving it for them.
I don't think you realise how undelicate I am when it comes to hitting things with a stick.
It's not a hammer, though.
Yeah, can you remember? Do you remember the film The Mighty Ducks? I'm assuming you all do because you're all.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry, nodding for.
Yeah.
Nodding for the audio listeners.
Yeah. Because in that there's the kid that like beats up the bullies in the first, and he can't skate for shit, but just whacks the puck. That's me.
Open read.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Okay.
I get the puck and I just whack. But that's why I play in D, because I can I'm not particularly good on the skates, but I'm very sturdy. So people can skate into me and I can stay upright and they don't. I just can't then chase them. So I just get between them and the goal, and if I get the puck,
just the tank.
Yeah, I just hit it. Yeah. Essentially. I'm the Tauren warrior tank, which is a Warcraft reference.
The guy who plays Fulton in the Mighty Ducks, he's actually in the Daredevil series. And
not as thingy.
Is he
his partner?
Yeah, his partner.
No.
Yeah.
That was my face.
And as soon as you said it, I was like, "Oh fuck, yes, it is him."
Yeah. For the benefit of the audio listeners, Steve is holding his head in his hand with complete and utter surprise and amazement.
That's fucking awesome.
You can just say Steving; it's easier.
Stevie, yeah.
I'm not a verb. It kind of worries me.
Fine. You're acting Stevie.
That reminds me. I need to get another song into your head at some point, don't I, Steve?
No, you don't. No, you don't. I've already got the.
So well in
Nope,
your head
go.
that it's I can't remember the thing that's in my head.
It was brilliant that after that episode, so many people text just going, "Oh, you bastard!"
Good. What was I going to say?
I've had Seven Nation Army in my head all day.
Oh, good shout.
Yeah, but I don't like how I say I don't like it. It does perplex me how Steve gets used as a verb in so many different contexts to mean so many different things, and everyone always just goes, "Yeah, that makes sense." Yeah, no.
Yes.
I'm not a verb. I'm a person. I'm a real boy.
Could we?
Not a number. I'm a free man.
Could we like append a word to the beginning to kind of how Bull Steve, Bat Steve.
See, now I'm just thinking Bat Steve, and it's basically just me in a Batman costume.
So, did you see the meme doing the rounds the other day with the Batman and Robin chatting, saying that the Batmobile wouldn't start? And I think it might be a problem with the battery. And then Robin was like, "What a Terry!"
So, have any of you guys seen the new Spider-Man something from Spider-Verse one?
Not yet.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Right. So, firstly, it is genuinely one of the best films I've ever seen.
Go and see
Incredible.
it.
Yeah, like even just the first 20 minutes, it's fucking incredible. But there's a sequence in it and a small clip where one of the multiverses they go to is the Lego multiverse. And there's two interesting facts about that. So when they released the original, the teaser trailer, the announcement trailer, not long afterwards, there was basically a clone of it, but done all in Lego, that was released on YouTube and went viral. And they saw that and went, "We need a Lego sequence, and we need to get this guy to do it." The guy that did it was a 14-year-old Canadian boy, and they got him to actually do the one that went into the film. And not only that, the second bit of trivia is one of the main characters, a guy called Miguel, the only other spider person that he compliments is Lego Spider-Man, and he says, "You're one of our best," and it's because it's basically to the 14-year-old boy.
I did wonder why Justin Bieber's name appeared in the credits.
It's a really nice, wholesome story. You've ruined it, James.
I waited till you finished your second point.
Because there always has to be two facts.
There's always two facts.
Always two facts.
And the second fact about that is the fact that James lives by that.
It's the Maltese law.
But yeah, seriously, if you haven't seen it, go and watch.
Isn't that like cabbage and carrots and?
As opposed to Maltese Falcon, that's a little statue thing.
I thought it was a film.
That
Based on a statue.
Like we said, it's one thing and another thing. It is a brilliant film. It's really good. And again, if you've not seen the first one, or you want to take someone who's not seen the first one, it does stand alone. It is a really interesting film to watch from a.
Yeah.
It's unlike an animated film.
Yeah.
The first one was fucking excellent. It was probably the best Spider-Man movie.
The soundtrack as well, really good.
Yeah.
Oh, God,
Sunflowers, fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The sound design on this one is, I think the sound design on the first one was possibly better, but the sound design on this one is still fucking incredible. Like I say, the first 20 minutes is mind-blowingly good. And like James said, the person that I went to see it with didn't know that this was a sequel. And they were blown away by it. And it wasn't until we got out of the cinema we started talking about it. And that's when they went, because they said, that wasn't at all what I was expecting. That was really, really good. And I was like, oh yeah, because it was like the first one, but all this. And they just went, the first one? What? And that's
and there's more.
Yeah.
And again, if you're going to take kids, it's great for kids, but also like personally, a lot of it resonated on a parenting level and like letting kids grow up to be who they want to be, or if you've got there is a character in there that has a younger child, and it's a nice thing to see, and you think, oh, this is actually really nice for parents who are taking kids as well. Whether it's intentional or not, it really suits a broad range of like, I'm going on a date with a new friend to right, kids, cinema, off we go. What do you want to see?
And one of the things that I did notice is that there was so just before we went in, there was a trailer, when we were in there, one of the trailers was for the new Pixar movie, like Elementals or something.
Yeah.
And like the fact that that was kind of a tired trope of like, oh, fire and water can't date. They're separate. We can't mix together. Oh, yes, we can. And it like watching that, and like, don't get me wrong, like I love Pixar films, but watching that and then watching Spider-Man, it was like, this is like, it just makes like all other animated films just look so tired and dated. Even ones that are coming out now, like even ones that aren't even out yet, look dated.
I thought the same thing. It looks
the
exactly
original,
like we've heard it before.
Yeah. The original crop of Pixar movies were like really sort of like Toy Story, The Incredibles. That crop were pretty sort of like new. They were fresh, and then it just became
Monsters Inc. was great.
Monsters Inc. Let's just make these as quickly and for the sake of money. Like
it's the same story, different characters, isn't it? Essentially.
Yeah, basically. But the original, like I say, the original few Pixar movies, absolutely fantastic. It's like Toy Story. I would say I haven't seen it in a long time, but I reckon probably still holds up to now. And was it Toy Story 3 or 4?
4.
Where 4? Yeah, dude, that got me. I was kind of how long ago did that come out? Was that 2018, 2017-ish?
Something like that,
maybe.
Grown ass man, that caught me in the feels, man. That movie caught me in the feels, like that. Hits on so many levels, but I think a lot of the other Pixar movies, they are very much squarely aimed at kids, and as Darrow O'Brien used to say, there's nothing in there for the dads.
Yeah, like there's a few where it's excuse me, where there's a few jokes chucked in here and there that make it watchable, but it just like I think especially like there's just the art style, the sound design, the fact that they put the thought and effort into this movie that they would put into any big like adult blockbuster sort of thing, and it really, really shines through. And I think it, like I say, it's just that stark comparison to another run-of-the-mill Pixar.
Stark wasn't Pixar though, was it? He was Marvel.
Still Disney.
It's all owned by Disney.
Everything's owned by Disney.
It really is.
It's owned by Disney.
I'm just waiting for the.
It's not owned by Disney. It's owned by fucking Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
It's like literally Warner Brothers and Disney own everything.
I'm just waiting for the email to come through to the Maker's Waffle email address.
Yeah. We've tried to get Shrek, but actually, you know what? We think this is what we need to add.
You look close enough, Jamie.
I didn't want to say anything, Jamie, but I was just going to take the 100% of the fees. But now it's out.
You're either going to have to be my Fiona or my donkey, one or the other.
It's that secret jingle you've been working on for years.
Yeah.
When you finally get into your, what have you been focused spiffing on this year? It's All Star by Smash Mouth, and it just plays for 20 minutes.
Have you heard the cut loop of that?
Yeah.
Well, that's that song in my head now. Thanks.
But I mean, so many, talking good soundtracks. The Shrek
I'd be
series
lying
got
if I
amazing.
said that song wasn't in my head at least once a week anyway.
Yeah,
And you got to do what you got to do, haven't you? Get the show on, get paid.
Next,
my
time.
logo, not logo, my sort of jingle sort of compilation is more along the lines of Klein's 4 minutes 33.
Steve won't like
very,
that.
which is very niche. Yeah.
Have to interject.
I've not even heard of
We
it.
could practice it now if you want. Probably got time. I think I've rehearsed it once before.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Song of Silence, not Sound of Silence.
It's
Which
4 minutes
now in my
33
head.
of utter silence.
Yeah, I played the triangle for it at school.
Fuck's sakes.
Triangle or French horn? Yeah.
I played French horn when I was younger. That was the only instrument I played. I gave it up because I couldn't read music. And my
You couldn't speak French.
I could speak better French than I could read music. But no, I couldn't read music, and my music teacher refused to teach me to read music and just had a go at me about not being able to read music. I was like, but
Even as a music teacher at that point, if they don't teach music,
like,
instrument teacher.
Yeah. It's like, I need help with this bit, but you should just know it. But I need to know the thing that I don't understand.
The words are all wrong. The stupid little shapes.
Yeah. So yeah, that was. I'm not hosting, for fuck's sake.
No.
I'd say you are, Steve. You did a pretty good job of it. Every time we go to have a mental pause, you jump in with something else. It's great.
It's mostly, and Brett had a very good point. It's mostly because I don't like editing out like silences and pauses in our podcast, and I don't like dead air. And those two will just quite happily.
What's editing?
Do what now?
And those two will quite happily just sit there in silence, waiting for me to come up with something else to say. So I just naturally.
That's a really good point, Steve. That's a good point, but actually,
oh. Why am I even friends? Next time you ask me to be on the podcast, can you warn me?
Oh, sorry, my
what it's
video
gonna be
just
on?
froze. Oh, sorry, I did have a point, but I've forgotten what. Oh no, now I remember. Carry on.
Wayward.
I'm not coming on.
What we got planned, Steve? Now that you're finished with, but you can't talk about it still, obviously, because you're still under the NDA, presumably.
Yes, I'll be under the NDA until it comes out.
So apart from fixing your Land
How far
Rover,
did they insert it? Cool.
he can't tell you because he's had.
I'm not allowed to say.
But he keeps moving on his chair.
Anyway, what are my plans?
What you got plans for, Steve?
I don't really know. So
Check the WhatsApp chat and the calendar. Be fine.
Yeah. So I have a few things going. Obviously, Joe has his workshop going. He is very busy, so I'm going to be doing a bit of production work for him, which I'm very excited about doing. It's going to be like learning his project, his products, and helping make them. I've got a festival coming up that I'm going to be demonstrating and doing some bits at after I get back from Germany. And after that's over, as well as doing the occasional bit for Joe, I'm going to be trying to make and sell my own stuff, which is going to be a new experience because I wasn't really allowed or given the opportunity to do it before, especially with things like the axes. So without going into too much detail, I was told by a previous employer that the only reason anybody wanted to buy my axes was because of them and because of who they were, and not at all based on my own merit, which I'm already very critical of my own work anyway. So I didn't feel comfortable selling my stuff because I didn't feel it was good enough. So then to get told that by someone who had no right in saying that people only wanted to buy my stuff because of who they were, not because of who I was. I never believed it. And even at the time, I was like, no, fuck you, because the people that want to buy my axes only know who you are because of me. So even despite the fact that I knew that, it was still a knock to my willingness to sell my own
Seed
stuff.
of doubt, isn't it?
Yeah.
Gaslighting is another phrase.
Sorry. Gaslighting. Yeah. And it was that plus the environment being very it was very uncomfortable to make something and sell it, because it was always, well, if you're doing that, it should be going through my business and it should be for me, and you shouldn't be doing your own thing, sort of thing. So yeah, I'm going to be starting to make my own stuff that I can actually sell, and that's going to include some axes. It's going to include some knives. I'm genuinely thinking about doing maybe a couple of like small carving sets, like the one that I did for you, Andy.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Yeah, I'm just playing around with doing some tool making and stuff. I do want to do some sculptural sort of stuff, but that's a whole different beast. Like that, I think will be something that I will be doing more kind of ad hoc for fun, without a plan, and then see how it turns out and see if I'm feeling okay to sell it or not. I expect a lot of that stuff will probably end up, not necessarily in the scrap pile, but staying in the workshop as example pieces and stuff like that, until I've got the confidence behind what I'm doing. And I will also be doing some content stuff. So I used to really enjoy making videos. I now obviously have the camera with which to make the videos. So yeah, as soon as I get back from Germany, that's going to be another thing that's going to be pushed quite hard.
Because you do make bloody good videos.
Thank you very much. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, and there's a few different ideas behind that. I think I've spoken about it before, about the fact that I want to document other makers as well. So I don't just want to have look at us hitting hot metal. I want to go and film other craftspeople, other artists, other creatives. Even to when I was staying up in Woking on this project, the people that I was staying with in an Airbnb, the hosts, one of them was a opera singer and horse physiotherapist, to go hand in hand, and the other one, the other one was a conductor, as in an orchestral conductor. And I was chatting to him one night about everything, and I basically just turned around and was like, I'm going to be honest, I don't really understand, like as a layperson, I don't understand what a conductor's role really is. You know, all I ever see them doing is standing at the front doing this. And we had this really nice, informative discussion about what a conductor does and what their role is and everything else. And what was nice about it is they were able to explain it in such a way that I was able to go, oh, actually, so it's kind of like this person doing this thing, and like offer some analogies. And they told me, actually, yeah, I've never thought about it like that. That's a really good way of putting it. And I would love to be able to film things like that as well. Conversations with just interesting people who do interesting things. Maybe have that go with some footage of, them at work doing their thing, have some of that music in the background, as well as going to visit other makers and craftspeople. I still want to do some build projects, ideally with Joe and Jimmy, because Jimmy is now no longer working for anyone else. He is now fully self-employed and will be doing quite a lot of
plus
work.
One diplomacy point there, Steve.
Yep. He will be doing a lot of work with myself and Joe now. So we want to do some videos like that, and some of it is going to be kind of more serious, that sort of style of video. Some of it is going to be a bit more tongue-in-cheek. We're talking about maybe doing some more kind of, or doing a few like vloggy sort of style videos. A lot of this next year or so is going to be just us getting used to having the camera on and around us all the time. And that's all three of us.
Are you looking, let's say someone listening to this is thinking, you know what, I've got a project I'd love to have an heirloom video of me making, or I've got an interesting idea coming up. Is that something you're open to, or have you got a list of what you'd like to do? Is it fairly structured, your time coming up, or?
No, it's not very structured. As my life never
I could
is.
see Jamie smirking.
I was just trying to think. You're the Airtable master, James, so maybe that's a perfect in for you to volunteer as booking agent.
Yeah, my fees are very low.
But yeah, if someone was to come to me and say, Steve, I've got this project that I'm working on, I'd love to. I think it would make a really good video. I'd love to have it videoed or whatever. Then 100%, yeah, I would be very, very interested in doing that. I have got I've got a long list of projects and videos that I would like to make and people that I would like to work with. But this, by the same measure, like say if someone comes up to me and says, I've got a really cool thing going on, would you be interested in filming it? Then 100% yes. And whether that was, if it was just a case of, say, someone who doesn't have a channel, doesn't have a social media following or anything like that, just says, I think this would be cool and I would like people to see it, then I'm happy to go along, film it and put it on my channel. If it's someone that's like, actually, I've got my own channel or I've got my own thing going on and I want a video that I can use for my things, but I want you to film it, then again, yes, I'd 100% be interested in doing that. That would just obviously be a different discussion.
Because there's someone I remember who did that. There was I'm gonna have to outsource the thinking of the name. There's a perhaps based in Scotland maker.
There's Justin Maybe in the US.
So Call Me Maybe does a lot of going around, but I know there was a maker who Peter.
Maybe. Yes.
PIOTR.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's someone in our
Crafter Tech, I think.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So did exactly that, though. It made a lot, a good few videos, but I think for whatever reason wasn't making a lot. But then had an amazing video shot by a professional videographer, and it was, I think all of us commented at the time saying, wouldn't that be a nice thing to do to, say you'd not made a video in a while, and you had board and lodgings for a weekend or something.
Yeah.
To host someone like Steve to come up and say, look, let's do something together. Let's collaborate. You make me a video. I'll make you some gluten suitable, cucumber free food. And
I love that you included the cucumber in there as well.
Yeah, I love the idea of gluten suitable.
But I would absolutely love to do something like that. And I'm very up for traveling around and doing things like that as well. I say, from my point of view, as long as my bills and expenses are covered, I'm happy. I think there is potential for me going elsewhere and working with some other people and other channels doing similar sort of stuff. I don't think it's too much of a secret that myself and Chris Cash have done some stuff together, and he is now going more into content creation as well. Just because the stuff that he does out there, like him and Matt, have so much potential to create great content doing what they do day to day. And they've said a few times, if they could get someone to just be there with a video camera running all the time, that'd be amazing. Obviously that's not going to be me because of A, visas, and B, America. Like I'm quite happy to go out and visit, but I'm not moving out there. But I definitely want to go out regularly and spend some time with those guys and work together with them, both in front and behind the camera. And so like anything like that I just want to. My kind of goal is to be in a position where I get to work with interesting people, make interesting, informative, and beautiful content of some description. I get to make things that I enjoy making. If I can make those things all work together in a way that actually makes money, and I don't mean makes money in like, I don't want to be making millions. I literally just want to be able to afford to eat and pay my bills.
Yeah, I was going to say, have you considered trying to win the lottery?
Yeah.
Or
But, like,
OnlyFans.
Yeah. But yeah, if I can get to a point where that's a feasible thing to do, then I'd be very, very happy with that. And I think it is possible. It's just seeing what happens. And I mean, there is
sugar parents, perhaps.
yeah, there is other things that go into that as well. So I'm doing, obviously, the job that I've been doing at the moment. I think I'm allowed to say that I've been working on a film production. I've been working in part of the props department, a very specific part of the props department, but there is opportunity to do more of that kind of work with other departments and with other people. And to me, that would actually be a really, really good way of doing it, is to do, 3-4 months working on film where I'm getting paid this one I wasn't getting paid that well, but most of those jobs you get paid very, very well.
I think you're. Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
StreamYard did a thing.
Okay. Do that for, let's say, 3-4 months, and just have then a chunk of money at the end of it that I'm able to live off. Do 3 or 4 months working with Joe, making some videos, making some stock, making things to sell. Then do a couple months out in the States working with Chris and Matt. Then maybe work with some other makers and other people anywhere in the world, and then maybe have a couple months where I'm just working in my own workshop, doing my own thing. And if I can kind of bounce between those, that would be ideal. I realize the problem with that is consistency is key. Huh? Oh.
And that.
But yeah, like the problem with
that's spiffy.
But yeah, the problem with doing that is, so with content, consistency is key. With building a business, blacksmithing, consistency is key. Doing any of that, consistency is key. But if I'm essentially piggybacking off other people as well, then that is a huge boost.
It's
an
extra level of stress, I think, as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
It reminds me a bit, though, of last week you were talking to Jason about, at school everyone had some sort of vocational test and said you would be a good candlestick maker and underwater basket weaver, and you kind of see it as like, this is what you could do.
Yeah.
But you talked about, oh well, actually maybe doing it at a different stage or reconsidering it, but also there's different stages in your life. There are
100%,
I suspect more and more people that you don't go into a career, or you have a portfolio career that even within a profession. So let's say being a lawyer, you could be a lawyer that then you do charity work on the side, and you also do coaching students, and you do something else, that you have this big portfolio. Why it can't be the same
and do engineering?
Yeah. But why you can't do that? And equally, what you would have been good at when you left school might have been candlestick making, but then as you progress through, you become a butcher, a baker, and then whatever else.
Underwater basket weaver.
Underwater basket weaving. Or as I think the top alphabetical thing on one of the university searches was advanced belting degree. And I was like, damn, I didn't do belting A-level. I never would have got in.
Belter.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds like something for OnlyFans. And Steve, people on OnlyFans need cameramen.
This is very true. I'm good with a camera.
Exactly.
But yeah, and much like seasonal jobs, that in the autumn everyone harvested things. It does seem that there was a big push at some point in careers as they exist now, is that you will go off and do one thing, and you will work at X bank until you are fed up, and then you can enjoy your hobby. Why it can't be, oh well, at the beginning of my life I'm at this, and then halfway through, when my needs change or I've built up enough cash to be able to sustain myself doing something fun and random, I go off and do that. And that's your career.
We all spend the first chunk of our lives being student.
Yeah.
So we've sort of had that mindset.
For the last 150 years, the preparation has been to put people into factories.
Yeah.
And whether that factory is an actual physical manufacturing plant, as we now call factory, or whether that factory is an office where you're pushing pieces of paper from one part to another.
Predictability of the
school,
mass populace, isn't
it?
it?
That expectation that you start your job age 14, 16, 18, 21, whatever the current, the current sort of leaving age or average leaving age of full-time education is, and then you stay in that job until such time as you die or you retire. And the career services in most schools, I would argue, still kind of have that. Not necessarily, it's not sort of something that is overt, but it's something that is just inherently there, that expectation that jobs are for life. Even though 20 years ago, or over 20 years ago, there was a guy called, I want to say Brian Fish with a CH at the end. I might be wrong on that name.
Fischer
came up with a presentation and sort of PowerPoint called Shift Happens, and basically talking about how kind of we're designing, we're trying to train people, young people, for careers that we don't know exist yet. It's like, as you say to some kids when I was teaching, when I was in school, web designer was just another way of describing a spider. Because the web didn't exist when I was in school. The interwebs.
And you look at like the recent emergence of AI stuff, and all of us here have watched AI appear, and then watched this generation of new jobs of prompt engineer appear within the last 12 months, and then they're all evaporating again. So we've kind of seen an industry start, and then jobs be invented and then be replaced almost immediately.
But I think people are equally bad, and I know that a lot of people in the medical profession, or a significant number of people, do shift to something else. And there are specific recruiters who say, right, what are your skills? And they say, I can do this procedure, I can do this, I've done that. They say, this is what I can technically do. But no one, or people in a professional job or any career that has lasted more than a few years, find it very difficult to say, oh, actually, I'm quite good at managing people. Oh, I'm very good at talking to customers. Because you don't see it as customers. It's, I'm talking to my engineers, or I'm talking to patients, or I'm talking to people who order from my pizzeria. You don't think of yourself in another role. You just think, well, this is what I do now.
It's like the CV, isn't it? You put your job description, then you put your list of all the standard attributes for that job title. Why? If you've done the same job at 4 different companies and you've listed the same set of exactly what you're expected to do with that job title 4 times.
I mean, it's weird you say that, because I've been rewriting. I've been writing a CV for the first time in years recently, and rather than doing that,
weren't you supposed to do that at Maker Central?
It was the other day.
Rather than writing out a list of jobs with attributes and all of that, it's basically just a list of attributes, and then separately a list of jobs like, I've done these, they relate here and there, rather than trying to justify each. But
the doorman.
I think like one of the other things that I find quite interesting is you say about like changing careers and things like that. With like, if you look at like the forces, so you look at the Army, Navy, RAF, the police. Within that, you're not just a soldier, a copper, a whatever. Like, you have like the inbuilt into it. You go off and you do different areas. So you might be an engineer, but then you're offered training to move laterally as well as vertically, because there's an understanding that actually after doing a job for a few years, you get fucking bored. Like, unless you love that thing, you're going to get bored and you're going to want to move on. That's why the best people, or people who are only generally really productive for the first like 3 years of a job. Like, I think the first year and a half is when people are the most productive. And then after that, it starts to tail off. After about 3 years, they are stuck in a rut, and it's very difficult for people to change then. And a lot of people get comfortable in a job and they go, I'm not going to change because I'm here, I'm comfortable, I know what I'm doing, and it's fine. And they haven't got any reason to change.
And they spend every day bitching about the fact that they hate their job.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah. And it's this weird thing of like, because I can remember even when I was looking at changing career, like when I looked at getting out of IT, I was just coming up to being 30, and I had people saying to me, "Oh, you're a bit old to be changing careers now, aren't you?" It's like, why? Like, I've genuinely, the amount of people I know now that are in their 40s, late 40s, and even early 50s that are retraining to do a different job because they're like, it doesn't matter. Like, thing is a lot of people, a lot of employers want experience. They want, like, you've got to have 10 years experience dealing with customers. But, well, I've got 10 years experience dealing with customers. They're just a completely different type of customer to the customer that you have. And
but talking to other people, like you'll see the opposite. You'll see people are like, I'm starting my career and I'm happy and I'm set that this is what I want to do. And at one point in my life, that was me. I was very happy. I knew exactly what I wanted to do. And is it Baz Luhrmann? The most interesting people I know don't know what they want to do. And I thought, like, well, I know what I want to do. Shut off, Baz Luhrmann. I'm still going to wear sunscreen, but you do change, and eventually, what you want to do it's still the same thing, but you suddenly unlock a new bit and go, oh, I can do both. I can do this. I can do that.
Yeah.
So, to people listening, going, oh, well, I'm very happy in my job. It doesn't mean that you're not going to then find something, like you said, in 5 years, 10 years, however long, that you suddenly go, actually, this is really interesting. Why don't I go and do that as well instead? Or
so.
Well, I think we all sort of had this thing as kids, didn't we? We were all told, asked the question of what do you want to be when you grow up? And those of us who had an idea of what they wanted to be got to a point where they realized, now I don't want to grow up, so therefore I can do something else.
Yeah. I mean, my experience, because I obviously changed from law to engineering, and that skill set that I now have is, well, once I get my degree in engineering, I will be one of the only people in the country with a degree in law and in engineering, and then I'll have a master's in both fields, only because I want a T-shirt that says, I have these two qualifications, just shut the fuck up and don't argue with me. It's like, I just want a mug that says it. I don't know why, but
because you can.
Because I can. But when I actually started off on this sort of process of moving from law to engineering, it was like, all right, I'm just going to go do engineering. That's it. That's all I'll be doing. But now in my day-to-day job, I bring the law side of it in on a regular basis. To a point where, because I did a project last year and put this thing together, a professor from Northumbria was like, that'd make a great dissertation title, and my brain being my brain then writes out an entire skeleton for a fucking dissertation. Because me.
but you're creating your own niche, aren't you? Niche for Americans. But
niche.
But I had someone say the same to me. They said, look, I was given a choice. Look, you can go off and do this education thing, which everyone does. And they said, do you want to do education? He's like, I love teaching people. It's great. He said, no. Education and teaching are not the same thing. You might love teaching, but are you really interested in education theory and running a teaching program? And he said, no, look, go and find what you want. You can create your own niche. You'll get to a certain stage that after that, someone will say, oh, what do you do? It's like, oh, I do, I don't know, intensive care and teaching, or I do rheumatology and audit. And you go, oh, yes, I've heard of that. You'll fit well into this department and just be another person.
Yeah.
But at some point, you will have to differentiate yourself from your colleagues around you, whether that's to get onto the next stage of the ladder or to move laterally into something else. Why not go out and create that? Say, I'm going to be the person who's an engineer with a law degree, and I will
in the
fit
space
this
industry.
Working in the space industry, sending satellites into space, which still almost 18 months on, still is like, that's not right. That's just, it doesn't, like, it's still like unbelievable that I'm doing that.
But it's because you've gone out and made it.
Yeah.
You've found something that you like and you're good at because you like it. And it doesn't matter that there isn't a
Yeah.
specific, oh, yes, you'll fit, within this niche within our company.
Yeah.
You could say, oh, actually, yeah, I can do that too. But if you really want to see everything I can do, why don't we set up this new thing?
Yeah. Well, it was my boss when he first asked me, what should your job title be? I responded to him and was like, how do we describe someone who covers pretty much every part of the business? He goes, I don't know. That's a good question. Like, because you are going to be doing everything, like from the engineering to the law, marketing, and all the rest of it. I was like, we'll go with operations manager because I like that title.
It's one of those
like
things that it doesn't have a set list.
Yeah.
No,
More universal than acting Steve Lee.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's important enough that people treat me with a great deal of respect, and I get invited to fancy dinners at the Oxford Museum of Natural History.
But also,
but
there's no
generic
specific
enough.
expectations because because it's
Yeah.
so generic. People go, "Oh, it's important. I'll leave you alone then."
Yeah, exactly.
I had a similar sort of thing with the job I've just been working on. I was taken on as a very specific trainee, but within within a few weeks of being there, I had a conversation with the boss who basically said, like, you're not doing a trainee's role. You're doing a completely different role that we didn't even realize we needed. But you're fulfilling that role and you're doing this, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And we talked about the fact that the next time I go working for them, they're going to take me on under a different name. We're just not sure what that name's going to be. Because I essentially was a professional problem solver. That's what I was doing.
But it's something you're really, really good at.
Yeah. And that was the thing, is it was like, right, so this is it's something that I can do, and I have enough experiences in vastly different things that I'm able to kind of bring all those pieces together and find a way to make it work. So yeah, like that will be my role in the next thing, and it will be called whatever. It might be operations manager, it might be just workshop manager or whatever, some kind of generic thing that I can get put under as because of the way that it works. Like, they kind of need to put me as a specialist to put me in the right pay grade. So I'm either a specialist or a manager. And it's like, well, I need to be a specialist, but I'm a specialist in generalist. Like, and it's this weird kind of like, I'm a specialist.
Specialism is in generalism.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the major curse, though, isn't it?
The other one is special consultant you can go with.
Yes.
And then that's generic enough that nobody understands what it means, but it sounds important enough that you'll get paid the right amount. So
isn't it interesting, though, to think of the work environment that you were put in? Because I suspect a lot of people listening will be like, oh, I'd love to do that. And it might just be that the work environment they're not in either at the time, everyone else is too stretched to be able to think, oh, well, could we see what they do and stretch their role out a bit? But to go from one place where you could have performed that role to then working incidentally in another place, performing exactly that role, and it just happens that that it was the right supportive environment or the right team leader or whatever it is. Because I think a lot of these stories, people think, oh yeah, I'd love to do that. What do I need to do? And often it's not what do you need to do, it's what is your company doing?
Yeah.
And for people who are in that more senior role managing people, it's what can I be doing to get my team to work better?
Yeah.
So
it's right place. I mean, for me, it was right place at the right time. I met my boss whilst volunteering at a school. He asked me to come in. We hit it off, and he was like, "Would you like to come in and work for me?" And in Steve, in your case, it would I'll let you tell that story yourself because you can tell it better than I can.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've only ever interviewed for like 3 jobs. Every other job has always been just either going down and having a chat with someone, meeting someone in a pub, or being headhunted for whatever. Like, it's always been a case of like meeting the right people. But what I was going to say is we talked about this briefly on the episode that we recorded tonight, about the fact that, like, for a lot of people, and this kind of ties into what James was saying, like, a lot of people, they will take a look at someone like myself, that is unemployed, well, not self-employed, running around, going off, doing like lots of fun and interesting things. They look at the social media side of it and go, "Oh, that's amazing! That's so much fun! Like, I wish I was doing that. How can I do that?" And there's two sides to it. So firstly, there's the side that sucks. There's the fact that I had an opportunity. Well, I've been offered an opportunity to buy something that is very fucking cool, and I really, really want, but I would need to take a loan out to buy it, and I cannot get a loan. Like, there is no way that I would be able to get a loan doing what I do, because even though I have a house and I pay my mortgage every month, mostly, I have no regular income. I have no piece of paper to say I will be making X amount every month. And there have been times, even in the last few months, whilst I've been working a steady job, where I have had to go to my parents and say, I'm really struggling. Like, the mortgage has come out a day early than I was expecting. And if I don't put an extra £100 in my account, the direct debit's going to get returned. Is there any chance you could just help out? And just like little things like money is always going to be tight for me. But the flip side of that is when really, really cool, awesome opportunities come along, like Caro saying, can you come to Germany and help me build a whatever? Or, someone says, can you come work on this thing? Or Chris says, Steve, can you come to the States next week and help work on this project? I can go, fuck it, yeah, let's do it. Like, I think a lot of it is putting yourself in a position where you're able to say yes to opportunities, because opportunities are always there. Like, anyone that says that there's no opportunities there is a liar. You're just not putting yourself in a position to find those opportunities. And a lot of that is just putting yourself out there and just talking to people and being verbose about the fact that you want to do things. And then it's about being able to say yes, because I had a shitload of opportunities over the last few years that I wasn't able to take. And now it's much more a case of me, rather than not being able to take those opportunities, it's like, do I want to take this one or do I want to take that one? And yes, there are still some opportunities that I can't take because of whatever commitments, but I think being in a position where you can take those opportunities makes a huge difference to how your career path can go. And it might even be a case of, to reference earlier, like it might be a case of you're working in an environment or in a company where you can say yes to those opportunities. Those opportunities might be lateral or vertical movement within that company. But if you're stuck somewhere, working somewhere where you feel like there is no room for movement, or there is no room for you to take up opportunities, then maybe look at putting yourself in a better place where there are better opportunities to take up opportunities.
That was going to jump in with the fact that there's an element of bias as well to what people see in that sense. Like, I was a contractor for years doing exactly that kind of thing of, kind of you drop in as a problem solver or something like that for a kind of a set amount of time for the contract. And then it might be a case of another opportunity comes up before that contract's due up or things like that. And you tend to highlight the good experiences, in your sort of career so far, Steve. You make noise about the stuff that you've really enjoyed, about the stuff that you've had a really good time on, or met amazing people, or had other opportunities come from it. But you don't necessarily talk so much about the opportunities that you took and then decided against once you'd got there, or you changed from, or things like that. So it's that kind of social media bias then as well, of we see the good stuff, we don't necessarily see the bad stuff. We don't see the, like you said, the struggling to keep the car on the road or pay the bills, or the stress level of going, shit, I've got 2 direct debits coming out the same day, can I push one back because I'm not going to get paid from this, or it's that kind of thing. But I think it's that point of being available and open to jump on opportunities, but also understanding that not all of them are going to be good. Some of them might just be a necessary step to the next one.
I think one of the other things, like for me as well, one of the other things that I realized is that don't get me wrong, like I'd be much happier if I had a load of money coming in every month and I was able to go out and buy things and not worry about it. But I am much happier having to live frugally and having to occasionally worry about how the mortgage is going to get paid, but being able to do the things that I love and being able to interact with the people that I interact with and do the stuff that I do, rather than, I did 9 to 5. I did work in office. I did IT for years, and it was a very steady job. I was very well compensated for my time, but I hated it. I was genuinely unhappy, and I might be stressed now, but I'm stressed and happy. Like I don't
different kind of stress, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't wake up on Monday morning and go, "Oh, it's Monday." I said to myself on Friday, I was like, I am not going to go into the workshop. I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to take Monday off as well. I'm going to have 3 days off to rest, recuperate, sort my life out, get things packed away, squared away, and take a bit of time to chill and relax and catch up on my sleep. And by 2:00 Saturday afternoon, I was about to text Joe and be like, "Can I just go into the workshop for a few hours and just work on some stuff because I want to go and do this?" And because I'm excited to go to work, and I'm super excited about the stuff that we've got coming up. And that to me is worth not having all the nice things. Like, it's worth not being able to buy a new TV or a new laptop or whatever when the latest model comes out. Like, I'd much rather not have those flashy new shiny things and be able to do the stuff that I love doing. That's not to say that you can't have both. Like, you can have a really, like, I don't want to say like standard as in it's some kind of like disparaging thing, but like you can have a really normal job that pays really well and love it and still do all the things. It's just, for me, it didn't work.
But
like
you're going to be sacrificing, aren't you?
Yeah,
somewhere.
Yeah,
exactly. In my mind, being an adult, that's like, I spend a long time trying to figure out like what is that shift when you're an adult, not grown up, just an adult. Because when you're a kid, you kind of make the best of what you're doing. You're told that you're doing this, you're doing that. You get some choice. When you're an adult, at least in my mind, you've got a huge amount of choice of what you can do with your life. For many people, at least, particularly people listening, you could pick to do that 9 to 5 job and sacrifice being interesting, for want of a better word, or you could sacrifice having a steady income. You could go off and do that. I'm going to live in a wheelbarrow and do whatever you want, and you're going to be desperately interesting. And you have both those choices.
Yeah.
So it is that sacrifice that it almost feels like when you're an adult, you can do anything you want. Is probably too generous a phrase, but I think of it the opposite way. Is like when you're an adult, you have to start sacrificing something because you can choose anything.
Yeah. And I think that whole thing is a spectrum as well. So you don't have to be just like, let's say, living in a wheelbarrow but super interesting, or having a really well-paying job but really
being a salary man.
You can kind of drift between the two. Like I was talking to Jimmy the other day and said, like, you can just go and get a job at Tesco's stacking shelves, or Lidl. Like, it's actually quite a well-paying job, and
or Aldi or any of the other.
Like you can do that and not worry about it, and use that time to just be able to go, you know what, my bills are getting paid, the work is zero stress. Like, I'm not enjoying it, but it's not forever. Like, because I think that's one of the other things, going back to what we were saying about careers as well, is the amount of people that think that if you take a job on, you've got to do it for at least 5 years. Like, no, you don't. You can take a job on, you can do it for a week, and then go, you know what, I've got a better opportunity. See you later, bye.
I think that's a cultural shift as well, though, isn't it? Kind of when we were growing up, we were told that you had to have your career, and you finish school, you start your job, and if everyone started their job at age 16, that means that by the time you're in your mid-20s, you have 10 years experience. So when you are in your mid-20s, you go for a job, you automatically have 10 years experience in the workplace. And I think because that that has shifted now. How many of us remember, sort of older relatives or whatever, questioning us about, like, what, you're leaving this job after a year or 2 years? That's going to look terrible on the CV. And now it's like, oh, cool, you did this for 2 months.
Yeah.
What was that like? There's no stigma attached to it anymore in the way that there used to be.
Yes.
So
certainly in this country.
Prior to 2018, the longest I'd been in a job was about 18 months. It's never been more than that. And then 2018, because I was in college full time as well, and the shift pattern worked for me, this was when I came across Fools with Tools and all of that stuff. So it was downhill ever since. That was 2.5 years, and now this job I've been in for nearly coming up to 18 months. So it's gradually getting. Yeah, well, it's about that time now, because my CV, if you look at it, it's only ever been like 12 months here, there, all over the place. But then there was a steady amount over the course of for 2018. But now I'm fairly, I think, as long as the company can keep going, and we actually do manage to launch what we want next year, then basically this, I'm touch wood, will be
there for a while.
Yeah, there for a while, with a bit of luck. And
it's not as if space is going anywhere.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Do you think that maybe that's because you're like you said earlier, you're not doing a single job, you're doing multiple jobs within that role, so it's adding that constant interest. But I think one of the other things, like that cultural shift, was we were always told, oh, you've got to stay in that job for years and years, because you used to get your standard pay increase every year, your annual raise. But changing jobs is the best way to get a pay rise, because you can go to another job and say, I'm getting paid 25 grand at this job. If you're only getting paid 20 grand, you say, I'm getting paid 25, and then they'll offer you 27, or and you go up from there. And like, whereas if you stay in a job role and you say, actually, can I have a pay rise? They'll go, oh, well, inflation's only 2.5%, so we can give you a 2% pay rise, and that's it. I'm like, well, hang on, fuck off. Like, I work really hard. Like, I've literally, last week, I saved the company £2.3 million, and you won't give me a few grand pay rise.
But if we give it to you, then we'll have to give it to them over there and them over there. And
it's like,
but then don't talk about your salaries either. So don't ever talk about salaries in the office.
Whereas I think, and for previous generations, it was kind of that attitude of like, the world's very small, and well, if you piss off this company, then that company's not going to employ you, and all this. Whereas now it's much more a case of people realizing that, no, if you're going to treat your staff like shit, people aren't going to work for you. And
I think as well, people are more willing to actually move around for work now.
Yeah, and especially now with the shift to hybrid working and things like that, it's become so much easier.
And the automobile and
horseless carriages. That wireless technology.
Within the maker world, there's even listening to the podcast, probably there is somebody that fits every one of those boxes of, I've not held a job longer than 2 weeks, up to, I started in this job when I was 16 that my uncle put me in, and now I'm working my way up. And every one of those is equally
valid.
It's equally exciting. Because you're only doing, very few people, thankfully, are doing their job because they don't have a choice. Everyone's saying, well, I'm doing this because this lets me do something else. If you're down the pub, you're saying, oh, well, my job pays this. Yeah, but your job's boring. Oh, well, yours is interesting, but it does this. And, well, yours has got good hours. Well, yours doesn't, but it lets you do this. There's every single person is going to find something they like.
Yeah.
Which I find so often this conversation goes down the road of, go off, be amazing, do this thing. You're like, no, go off and do what you want. Like, if what you want is doing exactly the job you're doing now, and once a month you go down to the workshop and you have the entire weekend for you, then that's what you want. Keep doing that.
Yes.
Don't go. Screw living in a wheelbarrow. I'm told it's a bad idea.
It's not fun.
It's bad for the back as well, from what I understand.
Do what makes you happy.
And I think
do what works for you, what works for your personality and your circumstances as well. Because let's be fair, if you've got a wife, kids, or family to support, whatever it may be, then I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing if my circumstances were different. And I had a mortgage and all the rest of it, because it just wouldn't work.
Yeah.
But the situation I'm in allows for me to do what I do and for it to work. And for me to make it work. But sorry, Steve, I've cut you off there, man. I do apologize.
No, I was going to say pretty much the same thing. Like, it would be very difficult for most people to be in the position that I'm in, because I have very little in the way of responsibilities, and the responsibilities I do have, other than like paying the mortgage and paying my bills, like they're easy to kind of pass off, sort of thing.
There's no obligation to anyone.
Yeah, but I think one of the things that James was saying as well, like, I think all too often people, especially in the maker community, will go, oh, well, if you're not doing a little bit of everything, then what the fuck are you doing? And it's like, actually, like, I find people that stick to a single craft or single career or whatever, like, that know it inside out, I find that hugely interesting. And I've talked about this on Fools of Tools before. Like, I get that with Brett and with Al, they want to make a thing once, they want to go on and do the next thing. They want to go on to the next thing. They want to go and do... I don't wrong. Like, there are 1,000,001 things that I want to do, but I also want to be really fucking good at a few things. And I think, again, it gets looked over far too often, especially like when you look at videos and things on YouTube where it's documenting other craftspeople. Generally, they are people that have been doing a singular thing for years, their entire life. They might have started it when they were fucking 6 years old. And they, like, watching them work, it's beautiful. That I'm not going to say that's art, but like, that's as close as you can get to being art within the maker community, sort of thing. Like, I find that that level of practice precision that you get with a master craftsman to be an incredible thing. And it's not just with crafts. Like, in any job role, you get someone that just knows their shit that well. Like a mechanic. You're not going to want to go to a mechanic. You're not going to want to go to a mechanic that's only been doing it 6 months. You're going to want to go to a mechanic that's been doing it for 30 years, that knows exactly what the fuck they're doing. You want to have that experience. And I think within this community, experience gets devalued if it's not wide experience rather than specific experience. And that specific experience is extremely important and extremely useful, because those are the people that are going to teach people. Like, those are the people that know the shit that you want to learn from. I'm sorry, Jamie, carry on. I just had to finish that.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I mean, two things spring to mind. The first, we were talking earlier about the scissor makers in Sheffield.
Yeah,
for that specific thing of a person who started the job as soon as they were able to physically start the job, and then have continued doing it until they're at the point of retirement, and they know exactly where to put the next knock with the hammer to precisely tune that pair of scissors. But equally as well, in the maker community, we've got a few of these people. Someone like Dandles, who you think, I have a turning question, straight to Dandles. I have a wood question, straight to Dandles, because the things that he's very specialized in. And I think that it's that two different sort of sides to that maker mentality, isn't it? We've either got, collecting all of the skills and trying to transfer as much knowledge across many different things as we can, or that perfectionism to try and narrow it down to X, Y, and Z as the three things that I want to be specifically brilliant at. And that seems to be that kind of...
There's even
I feel like
that third thing, isn't it? There's the I like doing this thing. I'm not really interested in much else.
Yeah.
I don't want to be an expert, but I am, whether that's because you're supporting your husband, childlings, nibblings, elderly parentings, whatever else, or it's just, no, I like doing this.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
I don't want to
Yeah.
excel at it.
Yeah.
I want this to be a thing that
Yeah.
I do. I quite like cutting out
Yeah.
animals out of paper, or I don't know.
Yeah.
That's it. I don't want to do it excellently.
Yeah.
I just quite like it. You're still
Yeah.
a brilliant maker if you enjoy it.
Yeah.
I think
feel like
it's more diverse
yeah.
than that, even James. I think
Yeah.
it's something that it isn't. Well, I think too often in this world we try and put things into kind of sort of binary slots. Yeah, it's one thing or another. Yeah, it's the diverse maker or it's the solitary skill maker. Yeah, it's male or female. We do these things. It's just kind of it's one thing or another, and nothing is.
No.
Nothing in
All
life
on a spectrum.
is.
So
Yeah.
because the way that
And
I
it's
would
not even a straight line spectrum.
no because the way that
It's
I would
three-dimensional.
look at that is I would say like the difference between being a craftsperson and being a maker. So Dandles, for example, is a craftsperson. He is very, very, very good at a couple of specific things, a single material, a single whatever. And then you've got a maker that is someone that is multi-talented, lots of things, but not necessarily like you'd go to him with a question, but if it was a very specific question about a very specific thing, you'd probably go to someone further down the craftsman spectrum. But like James said, like you don't have to be good to enjoy it, and as long as you're enjoying it, that's all that matters. Like, don't let anyone, especially not some fucking idiots on a podcast, tell you that you're invalid because you're not good. Like, it's
the curse of social media, isn't it?
Yeah.
People compare their early attempts to people's show reels,
Yeah.
without seeing all the crap that actually exists outside of the camera range.
Yeah. The question should always be. Sorry, I was just going to say the question should always be.
Yeah.
Why? Like, why do you do this? Why do you do that? Like, if the answer is because you want to be really good, then okay, go off and be really good. If it's because you want to know how to do a lot of things, go off and do a lot of things. If it's because I really fucking like it and it makes me happy, fucking great, do that. That is the best reason for doing anything.
Yeah.
I was going to. I mean,
Amen.
just going on to the point about the sort of the people who are masters and the broad range. I think a lot of it comes down to us in the make community saying, jack of all trades is jack of all trades, master of none, oftentimes better than a master of one.
Yeah.
And we sort of focus on that oftentimes better than, but we miss the fact that it says oftentimes, not all the time. And it's the importance of actually reading that quote in full, but also understanding that in certain circumstances, a jack of all trades is what you want. And in certain circumstances, you actually want someone who is a master machinist, for example. You don't
Understanding
want someone...
context, isn't it?
Yeah, it's exactly that. And I think we're all big fans of saying it, but we often ignore that one little bit, oftentimes.
On that, just very quick, because I am actually going to have to go in a sec. But because you brought that up, I also want to point out that everyone always says blood is thicker than water, but the full quote is the blood of covenant is thicker than the water of the womb.
Choose your family.
Yeah, choose your family. That connection that you that you choose is always going to be thicker than the family one. But yeah,
the Rolling Stone one about gathering no moss isn't about one of those people in the band. Who'd have known?
Thank you, Morty.
They also don't collect moss.
Actually,
I mean, they're getting to up. They're getting to that age,
Swang them.
Yeah, I mean, it's more
the only
fungal
moss
than
I
moss, I
can
think,
think
isn't it?
Yeah.
They actually all collect terraniums with different mosses in.
Oh dear.
But yes, gentlemen, I'm going to have to bounce. I don't know if you guys are staying for a little bit longer.
Well, let's skip out.
Switch to our Patreon feed.
We might even have to focus on the Patreon stream that might happen afterwards.
Yeah,
those of you who might want to sign up.
Experimental. It could all go completely up upside down in a few seconds. So hopefully we're going to say goodbye to the live listeners,
Active live
now.
people.
Yeah.
And hopefully in a few seconds we'll be saying hello to the not live listeners, because we're going to do
The undead listeners?
The future.
Yeah, I didn't mention that
live
bit at the start, did I? Yeah, I should have been more specific. So, bye, folks.
Bye.
Bye.
Just going to keep an eye and make sure that actually...
Hold fingers crossed.
Are we still live?
Oh, I don't know.
Right, if everyone just start waving, you can look at the live feed until we stop waving.
No, the question
Okay,
is,
let's see if it
a
happens.
post was created on YouTube for this.
That's
deleted.
That's the initial wave.
Go on,
from
then. You've
YouTube.
got this,
Or
you've
people
got
move.
this.
I'm pretty sure we're still...
Okay, Jamie's still crossing his fingers.
Yeah,
We're definitely still live.
Yeah, we're still live.
Wait. Oh no, the